Well, hey everybody, Scott
Hello,
Aaron here.
everyone.
I'm here with Tatiana. I'm actually going to turn it to her first and foremost before we dive into today's training. So Tatiana, I'm just going to kick it off to you.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Happy New Year. Well, it's February, so I hope everyone survived January, which went by very fast. So, Happy New Year. I'm happy to see everyone here. We'll just kind of let everyone, as they're coming in, just let us know where you're joining us from so we can kind of recognize that and say hi to everyone.
Well, I'm from Philly,
I'm in
in,
Wisconsin. I forgot to mention.
in Jersey now, so I'm gearing up for the Super Bowl. This is a good I'm glad I'm doing this right now. I've kept a very productive week because I would be watching too many YouTube videos of getting ready for the Super Bowl. So this is like the most healthiest way for me to kind of be distracted from the Super Bowl, which is in 4 days. So yeah,
I'm from Toronto.
awesome.
All right, perfect. So people are still kind of entering. As you enter in, just kind of say hi, let us know where you're from. My name is Tatiana. I'm the CEO of Network After Work. I welcome you guys here. Scott is not new to us. So we're excited to have him back for the new year. We're excited to have him share his insights on all things LinkedIn for 2025. So if everyone's ready, you've got your pen and paper, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Scott.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatiana. So as she forementioned, um, not my first rodeo with this group. I've actually been doing trainings and workshops for this community for, God, I think almost 5 years now, which is just so much fun. My wife, Nancy, sometimes will join me depending upon what we are talking about. And I reached out to Tatiana as I always do, and I said, hey, listen, I have some new strategies that I've been deploying for my business, leveraging LinkedIn, and I would love to teach it to the Network After Work community. Do you think this would be value added? And she said, yes, let's put it together. And that is why we are here today. So, just to take a temperature of the room, drop a Y or a yes if you have seen any of my trainings before, or N or no if this is your first time. Awesome. So I'm seeing mostly no's, a couple of yeses. So for those that have seen me before, good to see you again. For all the newbies, my name is Scott Aaron. As I aforementioned, originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, now in South Jersey, just outside of Cherry Hill. My wife and I run three companies together. She runs a content repurposing agency called BYOB Agency. I run my LinkedIn consulting practice, which I have been working with coaches, consultants, and service professionals, companies, and organizations since 2013. And then in between that, my wife and I run a company together called The Time to Grow. It's where we help companies and businesses, service providers grow and scale their offers and their business. So I've been leveraging LinkedIn out of my own necessity when I was moving into the online space in 2013 and ended up creating a system and a flow of how to use it very genuinely, authentically, without any of those 18 paragraph long drunkalog verbal vomit messages that we tend to get every single day that we can't stand. But also using it from the standpoint of what I feel is one of the most important aspects of growing a business, and that is relationship building. For me, people always ask myself and my wife, how did you guys grow and scale to work 3 days a week and everything that you're doing? It's because we've taken the time and attention to engage with our communities, build know, like, and trust. And what I'm going to be teaching all of you today are four, I don't want to say advanced strategies. I would say strategies that you can deploy right away on LinkedIn to really further your engagement, build your network, create more connections and conversations, and even have it lead to sales. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you have LinkedIn on lockdown, you should be doing this to training, not me. One being you really aren't quite sure how to properly leverage it. Where would you guys rate yourselves on a scale of 1 to 10? 54115. Okay. So a couple higher numbers, but average. So the idea of this is to really kind of get the wheels in motion with all of you. Just a couple brief announcements. Number one, this is being recorded. I will be sending out a replay link to all of you who registered later this afternoon, so you can actually watch it back. So if there's anything that you may have missed, you want to go back over, obviously you can do that. The second thing is Nancy and I are in the process of building what we're calling the Expert Content Society. It's a private community that we're going to be launching in March. It's a private community for business professionals on how to create better LinkedIn content. So there's going to be a monthly masterclass. There is going to be a playbook, AI prompts, and we have a wait list for it. So Tatiana is actually going to drop that in the chat. If anybody wants to get on that wait list, you can click that link and get on the wait list. You will be getting VIP pricing on that. So it's called a founder's rate. So if you're interested in wanting to learn how to create better content on LinkedIn, that is what this private community is for. Also, another free gift that I have for you guys, if you're looking to better optimize your LinkedIn profile, which is obviously one of the most important things, Tatiana is also going to drop that in the link. I have a free download for all of you. If you click it, it's 6 steps to perfecting your LinkedIn profile. If you click it, name, email, and basically you can get that download after we are done today. I will also include all this information in the follow-up email with the replay link. So if you don't have time to click on the links and enter your names, I can send it to you privately after we are done the workshop today. So if everybody is clear on that so far, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat. You're going to hear me say that a lot. I'm a very interactive trainer. The reason why I do that, I want you guys to engage because I want you guys to take away as much as possible from this. And it's been proven from a business standpoint, those that engage, those that close all their other windows and tabs, put down their cell phones, stop doing the laundry, whatever we're doing, you will retain 3 times as much information as people that don't. So if you have your cameras turned off and you have the ability, if you're in the bathtub, leave it off. If you have the ability to turn on your camera, faces connect. And I know we would all appreciate seeing each other. So I invite you to turn your cameras on so we can all see each other and connect better. So the fact is, I want everyone to walk away. Ah, good to see everybody. Awesome. I want everyone to walk away with a very clear plan of action. Now, what I don't want is to create overwhelm or, oh my God, there's so much more to do on LinkedIn. Now, what I will say is first and foremost, the core foundation of what everybody should be doing on LinkedIn is building your network, connecting with people offline, and providing value-added content. That is kind of like the baseline standpoint of what you need to be doing on LinkedIn. Two quick, I would say, glaring statistics I want to kind of throw at you guys. Number one, 97% of the people on LinkedIn never post a thing. Only 3% of the LinkedIn population post 1 time per week. So if you want to talk about the ability to get increased visibility, well, LinkedIn is your place to do that. The other thing that I want to let you guys know is that 88% of the LinkedIn population are in a decision-making role. So if you guys are service providers in some way, shape, or form, and you're providing a service or a product, a good, a course, a program, whatever the case may be, you're in the 12% minority that is going to be obviously providing those services to the 88% of those that are on LinkedIn. So again, law of numbers are in your favor. Now, it brings me to the topic of today's subject, which is how to create better engagement on LinkedIn. Now, there are 4 things that I'm going to cover with you guys today. Some you may feel like, oh, I could deploy that right away. Others, you may say, I may need to take some time to do that. So, number one, we're going to be going over LinkedIn polls in specific groups. We're going to be going over leveraging LinkedIn newsletters. We're going to be leveraging micro influencers and other influencers and engaging in their content. And then we're also going to be going over short form vertical video. And I'm going to kind of touch on all three of those and why it's important to do one, two, three, or all of them. And I will repeat that again. Even if you just decide to just deploy one of these four strategies, it's going to make a difference in your engagement and it's going to make a difference in your experience on LinkedIn. I promise you that. And here is why. One small change compounded over time creates a positive effect. So if you've ever read the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, he always talks about one small daily action compounded over time creates the end result that we're looking for, right? That's the first thing. The second thing, I just want to give all of you permission to not know what you're doing. Because if any of you are familiar with T. Harv Eker, um, and a lot of those other great authors out there, um, every master was once a disaster. So you're not supposed to be able to figure all of this out at the same time. It's supposed to take time. So I want to just give all of you permission that it's going to take time. I've been plugging away at this thing for 13 years, and I'm still learning new things each and every day on LinkedIn. Because the fact of the matter is, you're not supposed to figure it all out. You're not supposed to master everything. Because if you think you know everything, you actually know nothing. So just remember, the peak of one mountain is the valley of the next. So you're always going to be climbing. So if everybody is clear with that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, I also want to encourage you guys to use the chat to engage with me, but also we're going to be doing some Q&A at the end. Tatiana's kind of very well versed with this. Um, I um, I'm pretty good at rapid fire, so I want you guys. I'm going to stop at about 10 till the top of the hour, and you guys can fire off as many questions as you want in the chat, and I can answer them there. So if everybody is clear on that, please do drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Awesome. Okay. Just making sure everybody is with me. Now, the one thing that I do want to also go over is just to make sure that everybody knows that um, every time I do these trainings, it's with the intention of leaving each and every one of you better. That is first and foremost. I don't want people struggling in their business. I don't want people struggling with what they need to do on LinkedIn. That's why I'm not sharing slides. I'm actually going to be sharing my screen on LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you individually what I mean by what I'm talking about and what I do. So the first thing that we are going to cover today is how to properly use LinkedIn polls to create more engagement on LinkedIn. Now, I want you guys to type in the chat, how many of you, just type a Y or a yes, how many of you are in LinkedIn groups right now? I don't care if you're active or inactive. How many of you are in groups on LinkedIn? Okay. Now, what I will say is, the way that and some of you may be thinking, well, Scott, how do I find groups, and which groups should I actually join? It's a great question. So first and foremost, the way that you find groups is the same way that you find people. So if you're searching for a person, you can search for a group. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, the secondary question is, well, what groups should I join? You want to join groups where it houses a collective amount of people that either are potential ideal clients or business collaborators or power partners. So if that's clear and if that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. So think about the things that you offer and the people that you serve from a profession or industry standpoint, and those are the groups that you should join. So for me, there are three main groups that I'm active in. I'm active in two sales groups and obviously the network after work group. Love the group. You guys may see me in there active. I'm always asking market research polls and kind of finding out more. And that's the point of all this. So if you're wondering, first and foremost, how to actually get into groups, if you go onto LinkedIn and you go into the search bar, say you're looking to, you're a podcaster like myself, and you're looking to get into a podcasting group. You can search for podcasting. And what you can do is you can see right here, it starts breaking things down into subtopics: people, posts, products, jobs, companies, courses, groups. Now, I can click on groups, and this is going to show me different groups that actually house people that are also interested in podcasting. Now, rule of thumb, and this is just my rule, doesn't have to be yours. I typically don't join groups that have under 10,000 people in them. So when you're joining a group on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that it has about 10,000 people or more in it. So if that's clear and if that makes sense, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, as far as maybe a question that you're thinking right now, how many groups should I be in on LinkedIn? No more than 5. No more than 5. It is quality over quantity on LinkedIn. So I'm also in a couple other groups that I post sporadically in. I'm in a content marketing group, and I'm also in an SEO group. Two different things that I focus on within our business. I focus on SEO and I focus on content marketing. Now, here's what I'll say. I always tell people, and they'll say, well, Scott, all right, I'm clear on how to find the group. I'm clear on how many groups I should join, but what the heck do I post? And someone said 10K seems to be the opposite. You need a quality amount of people in these groups. If the group is too small, it means no engagement. So you want a group. And when I meant by quality over quantity, I meant the amount of groups that you join, not the amount of people. So you want to join a group that has at least 10,000 people in it, that is highly engaged and has quality people in it. That's what I meant by that. So if everyone's clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure everybody is clear. Awesome. So you search and connect. You're searching and you're joining groups. You're joining up to 5. You're looking for that 10K limit. And then it brings up the question, well, what the heck do I even post in groups? Now, I've tried everything. I've tried posting videos. I've tried posting articles. I've tried posting. I've tried sharing. The only thing, and this is tried and true, what I have seen work most are LinkedIn poll questions. Now, type a Y or a yes or an N or a no if you've ever done a LinkedIn poll on LinkedIn. I'm seeing yeses. I'm seeing a bunch of no's. Okay. Now, if you have, continue to do it. But what I will say is the question that you ask, and just to kind of use this as an example, this is a sales group. It's a bunch of sales professionals. And you can see this was a post I did last week. And I asked a very simple but specific question to this group. What helps you hit sales goals? Having a clear strategy, having team support, having personal drive. Other comment below. Now you can see 417 votes. So how does that lead to increasing engagement and visibility? Well, you can see at the bottom right here, this post got almost over 13,000 impressions, which means it was shown 13,000 times in the LinkedIn newsfeed, which gives my profile visibility, my content visibility, and draws people to me. So if that's clear, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, when you are asking questions on LinkedIn within groups, you have two choices. You can ask a yes or no question. So you can compose a poll question and you can say, are you struggling with, sales right now? Yes, no, other comment below. Or you can ask a specific question that has specific response options, like the one I'm showing you here. So you can do a mixture of both. Now, the strategy is to choose 2 to 3 groups a week that A, relate to your ideal client persona, your ICP, or business ally, other people that are within your area of business interest and expertise that would resonate with what you're posting about as a LinkedIn poll question. So if that's clear and if that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure you guys are with me. Now, how does it create engagement? Well, number one, I already showed you right there, 13,000 impressions, right? The impressions, this is how many times it is shown to the LinkedIn network. So right here, it tells you impressions, the number of times your post was shown on LinkedIn. Members reached, the number of distinct members and pages that saw your post. This is a number that is estimated, it doesn't include. So 10,000 members actually saw this. And that's the important thing to understand is that when you're doing this, and I do polls every single week. Every single week. Now, the important thing is what I did right here. This other comment below option. So what you're going to do is 1 time per week, you are going to post a poll question in 3 different groups. So say Wednesday is your poll question day. You're going to choose 3 groups and you're going to post a poll question that relates to that group in specific. So I'm not going to ask a health and wellness group to an SEO group. I'm going to ask an SEO question to an SEO group. I'm going to ask a content marketing question to a content marketing group, and so on and so on. So if that makes sense, everyone's clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure you guys are with me. Now, you can see right here, I always use the option other comment below. Now, why is that important? It's important because it creates engagement. It's letting the people that are seeing that know that if they don't vibe or they don't agree with the 3 choice options, they can freely share their own specific thought or idea. So if I were to go into that and kind of just show you what ended up happening in the comments, you saw other people started, mindset. Depends on your perspective. And the comments kept going and going and going. Now, I have a very simple strategy to continue conversation in the chat, and this creates additional engagement. And it's called engage, acknowledge, and ask. Engage, acknowledge, ask. So if you're seeing comments coming in when you're doing your LinkedIn polls, the first thing that you do is you engage, meaning you like, you celebrate, you support, you love, you insightful the person's comment. So if that's clear, type in number 1 in the chat. So number 1 is engage. Awesome. Number 2 is acknowledge. How do you acknowledge someone? Well, you hit reply and it tags them and you agree or support the post that they just commented with. So Gary wrote, mindset is everything. Plan your work your plan, make it happen. I hit reply and it tagged them automatically. Yes. Number 1, engage. Number 2, acknowledge. If that's clear, type in number 2 in the chat. Number 1, engage. Number 2, acknowledge. Awesome. Number 3, ask. You want to further the conversation. So how do you further a conversation? You ask a question. Questions lead to answers. So I finished with, do you have a mindset tip for the group members who may be struggling in the area of their business? And then he replied back, and he gave additional information related to his comment. So 3 is ask. Engage, acknowledge, ask. If everyone is clear on that, type in number 3 in the chat. Now, sometimes people won't reply back. So you can see I asked Quinn right here, but he didn't reply back. David did. Mike did. So the fact is that the more that you get people to engage back, the more it's going to be seen on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is going to show it to more people, more accounts are going to see it, and it's going to give you more visibility engagement. But what it also does is it creates more votes. It gets more people to engage and vote in the poll question. Because here's the cool thing. For those of you who didn't know this, when you are the creator of the poll question, you can actually see every single person who voted. And then you can make the decision, maybe I want to connect with people that are struggling with personal drive or need help with personal drive. I can go through here and you can see a first connection. I can send them a direct message. So just to show you what I would do here, and this is the cool thing about LinkedIn, is how do I engage? So the poll questions, obviously, I do mine for 7 days at a time. And you'll get notified when people comment. So I'm always kind of checking back to see what's going on. But just to show you an additional engagement tip, I'll click that little blue arrow and it's automatically going to take me to a message that I can send to Trina. And what I do is I thank people for supporting the vote of they had in the poll question. So I can simply say, hi, Trina. I just wanted to say thank you for voting in my poll from last week. Your support means a lot and hope you have a great rest of your day. And you can see it actually includes the poll question in the body of the message. So it's not coming through as like, what the heck is he talking about? What poll question? It's actually linking the poll question that you asked. And then I just click send and it's done. So if that's clear and if that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. So your goal is to make sure that you're joining groups up to 5 that relate to your ideal client persona, your ICP, or your business ally, business collaborator, power partner. And you're going to pick 1 day a week and you're going to post a poll question that's related to that specific group, either a yes or no question or specific response questions 1 time per week in 3 groups. So if everybody is clear on that, just type the word clear in the chat. Now, the way that you search for groups is the same way that you search for people. I showed you guys this in the very beginning. You just type in a kind of group that you want to find. So I want to find podcasters. And then I would just click on where the little prompt is at the top where it says groups, and it would show me groups that, have podcasters in it. So if that's clear and if that makes sense, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure everybody is with me. And again, I'm going to save in about 20 minutes. I'm going to allow you guys just to dump all the questions that you have in the chat so I can answer them in one fell swoop. Also, just a reminder, anyone that wants to get on the wait list for our Expert Content Society, which is opening up next month, and your free profile download, Tatiana is going to drop those 2 links in the chat, so feel free to grab them there. I will also be emailing them out with the replay link after we are done today as well. So you guys know that as well. Now, second strategy is making sure, and so how many of you engage in other people's content on LinkedIn? Why or yes, and or no? Okay, good. Okay, so many of you are. Now, a couple keys with this. A couple keys. Number one, um, you don't want to do this from the component of what is called an engagement pod. So how many of you are familiar with engagement pods? Why or yes, and or no? All right. If you're not, good. Don't even try to learn about them because they're actually frowned upon and they do violate the user agreement on LinkedIn. They find out you're in one, they can kick you off of LinkedIn. So you want to make sure that you do this on your own. LinkedIn does not like forced engagement. Some of these engagement pods are paid, so you have to pay, and then everyone likes and comments on each other's stuff. There's no business relationship at all. It's just random people commenting and liking. So just make sure everything that you do is organic, genuine, because the fact of the matter is we have one shot at a great first impression, and we don't want to ruin it with forced engagement or doing things against the user agreement on LinkedIn. Now, what you want to focus on when you are engaging in someone's content, you don't want to just like the post, right? And then leave like a little like thumbs up emoji and like great post or awesome job. Like one of those little one-liners that you see people do, right? Like what this person did, a bullseye. That's that's not going to help you. So for people that don't know this, LinkedIn quantifies two types of posts on LinkedIn. Most recent, which are the comments that are most recent, or most relevant. Now, trivia question. For the people that are watching right now, what do you feel you should go after? Um, should you go after a most recent? Yeah, or a most relevant? Yes. Yes. A most relevant. That is the key. That is the key. Because when you have a most relevant, it is going to make sure that it is going to put you in that realm of relevancy in the sense that more people are going to see your content. Most people are going to see your content. So you can see right here, Sherry made this great post, right? And what I typically do is, and this is my recommendation, you want to find a influencer or micro influencer that's getting some good organic engagement. You can see she had 1,300 likes, 465 comments, 48 reposts. Look whose post is the first. Mine. Well, why? Because it got 4 engagements. So what you want to make sure that you do, and I recommend doing this, you don't have to do this daily, right? You can do this 3 days a week. And what you want to do is as you scroll through the news feed of LinkedIn and you stumble upon a post that really resonates with you, whether they're a big time influencer, I commented on one of Gary Vee's posts the other day, and my comment got about 9 or 10 engagements. So why is that important? Well, number one, if that post continues to get engagement, guess whose name everyone is going to see first? If you know the answer, type it in the chat. Whose name are they going to see first? Yeah, yours. They're going to see your name first. Which, what does that do? Well, if they're seeing your name first and they're actually seeing people that actually engaged, they're going to be like, man, all these. So this person posted this post, but this person who commented got people to like it. So then they're saying, huh, I'm kind of curious about this guy, Scott. Let me click on his profile and check him out. So now it brings people back to your profile. They may connect with you, they may follow you, they may even directly message you. Because I strategically engage in other people's content where my ideal target audience may be hanging out. So don't just randomly comment on some influencer or micro influencer's post just because they get engagement. See the validity of the content that they posted and what they do for a profession. Because if it's maybe a medical influencer, my people aren't a part of that. I'm not going to comment on that type of stuff. So if that's clear and if that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Good. So I recommend doing this 2 to 3 times a week, finding a different micro influencer, scrolling through, and make sure it's getting good organic engagement and share value. So you can see I added some significant value. Like I said, Sherry, you make a great point. Layoffs don't just affect those they let go, they affect the entire team. And I kind of like gave some extra tips, and people really appreciated it. But the other thing is I can click to see who liked my comment. And now I can see if that person could be a good fit for my network as either an ideal client persona or someone that I can collaborate with in business. So just by engaging in the right people's content can help you grow your engagement and can help you grow your network and also your visibility on LinkedIn. If that's clear, type the word clear in the chat. Just want to make sure you guys are with me. Good. So again, number one, you're going to use the groups. Number two, you're going to engage in the right people's content. Now, the third thing is LinkedIn newsletters. So how many of you, a Y or a yes or an N or a no, if you've started a LinkedIn newsletter? All right, so I probably could do a whole separate class on starting a LinkedIn newsletter. It's not very difficult. Um, Literally, if you're on LinkedIn, just to kind of show you very, very low level, if you click write an article, and on the right-hand side, if you click on the manage button, you'll see create a newsletter. And then you can actually create your own newsletter. So maybe I'll do a separate training on this for all of you guys on how to create a newsletter. So I'll talk to Tatiana about that because I know that's something that you guys all need if you don't have that going on right now. Now let's pretend, okay? Let's all pretend for a second that you have a LinkedIn newsletter, okay? So if you're cool with pretending you have a LinkedIn newsletter, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just let's pretend, okay? Awesome. So you guys have a LinkedIn newsletter, right? So mine, for those of you that don't know, um, I can actually copy this for you guys. This is my newsletter. It's called LinkedIn Tips and Updates. It's a weekly newsletter, and basically I do a weekly long form newsletter on things that you can do to help you grow your business. Now you can see I've had this for a little over 3 years. And again, if you want to, I left the link above. If you guys want to subscribe, you just click on that link. And the cool thing is, let me see if I can do it. Yeah, that's that way. I have 8,000 8,727 subscribers. So the really cool thing about LinkedIn newsletters is um, you're able to see who is subscribed to your newsletter. So when you guys write an article, why or yes if you've ever written an article on LinkedIn. Now, when you write an article on LinkedIn, it just goes out to the like general ethos of LinkedIn. It's not directed towards any specific person, but a LinkedIn newsletter is directed towards specific people. So here's the cool thing. When you create your LinkedIn newsletter and you publish your first edition, LinkedIn invites every existing connection that you have to subscribe. So say, so drop in the chat how many, if you guys know offhand, how many connections do you guys have on LinkedIn? I just want to just see where you guys are. How many connections do you have on LinkedIn? 4,000, 9,000, 1,800, 4K. Yeah. So just imagine, right? Just imagine um, when you're getting ready to produce and publish your first LinkedIn newsletter. Um, I had a sizable network at the time when I created this. So say you have 10,000 connections on LinkedIn. When you publish that first newsletter edition, LinkedIn auto invites for you every single first connection to subscribe to your newsletter. So you'll have subscribers right away. Now, there's a couple other things that happen. When people subscribe to your newsletter, every time you publish a new edition, three things happen. Number one, they are notified in the notification section in the little bell that you have a new newsletter. So they get a little push notification there. Number two, as they scroll through their notification feed, they can click and view your newsletter immediately right from the notification section. And number three, LinkedIn personally emails every single subscriber a copy of your newsletter to then join it back on LinkedIn. So they push people to read every single one of your newsletter editions. So if you want to talk about helped visibility, LinkedIn is helping you grow your newsletter. Now, the other cool thing is this. Anytime, once you have your newsletter up and going, anytime someone accepts your connection request, after they accept, they are automatically invited to subscribe to your newsletter. So if that's clear and if that makes sense so far, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, the other cool thing is when you have your newsletter up and going, guess what? You can add it as your featured content section. So if you optimize your LinkedIn profile the right way, guess what? More people are going to see your profile, which means your newsletter is going to get more visibility. And they can obviously start subscribing that way. So back to the benefit. The benefit is you can start engaging with your subscribers. So I can click right here and it's going to show me every single person that subscribes to my newsletter. So just as an example, so my wife and I work specifically with coaches, consultants, and service providers. So we work with accountants, lawyers, financial service professionals, insurance professionals. So just using Justin as an example, that's someone that I would want to get into my network because I could serve him in some way, shape, or form later on down the road, and he would probably find my content value added. And I can literally hit connect and send that person a connection right from my LinkedIn newsletter. The other thing that you can do is you can scroll through, and when you find someone that is a first connection of yours, and again, like I said, I have close to 9,000, so it may be hard for me because Once your newsletter starts growing, you have more people outside of it. But just to give you the idea, if I had a first connection that pops up on here, okay? Instead of saying follow or connect, whatever the case may be, it will actually say message. So right here, George Grant. So I can click message, and what I can say is, hi, George. I just wanted to stop by and say thank you so much for subscribing to my newsletter on LinkedIn. If there are any topics that you would like me to cover, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day. And that's it. So now I'm engaging with my subscribers. So you have that privilege to engage and directly connect with those people that are already finding value in what you're providing. So if that's clear and if that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Good. So we have leveraging LinkedIn polls and groups, leveraging influencer and micro influencers by engaging in their content the right way, and obviously having a LinkedIn newsletter where you can engage with your subscribers. Now, the final thing is LinkedIn vertical videos. So how many of you, yes or no, why are yes and or no? How many of you know or knew about that LinkedIn has created its own LinkedIn only video feed on the mobile app? Yep. So on the mobile app, if you ever go on the mobile app, you may or may not have it. It's in beta, but at the very bottom, I can kind of show you this on my screen. You're going to see a little YouTube like video icon next to the home screen, and it says video. So that is LinkedIn's version of Reels or TikToks, right? It's called LinkedIn Video. Now, you've had LinkedIn Video has been around for a while, but not in this sense where you have a scrollable separate news feed. So just to kind of show you, if you guys can look at my screen, these are like literally just video after video after video. And that's basically how that's basically how it works now. So how do you get more visibility and engagement and get into that? Well, it's creating video content like this. So you can create short form, and I'm going to blow your minds really quickly. Y or yes, N or no. How many of you have ever heard of the tool, the AI tool, Opus.pro? Y or yes, N or no? Okay. It's completely free. And what Opus does is exactly what you're looking at. So I'm going to put it into the chat. It's www.opus.pro. Sign up, it's free. And basically, what you can do, say you have like a 15-minute video that you did a training on in relation to your zone of genius, your business expertise, your subject matter that you're an expert in, and you wanted to kind of break it up into small micro pieces of content. You can use a something like Opus, and I can actually show you really quickly what this looks like. So just to kind of show you, you basically would drop in a link to a YouTube, a link to a Zoom that you did, and it basically then takes that video and then we'll chop it up into micro pieces of content. It's already captioned, right? So as it plays, you'll see it's already captioned. And then what I can do is I can click this little briefcase And that allows me to download all of these videos. I can save them into a Dropbox or a Google Drive, and then I can post them whenever I want onto LinkedIn, either directly from my computer, or if I have access to my Google Drive or Dropbox on my mobile phone, I can do it that way. And this is how you can get your content, your video content, into that video only feed on LinkedIn because it's very engaging. And the key is you want the video to be between 30 and 59 seconds. That's kind of like the magic range for how long the videos should be. But if you guys have like old YouTube videos that you did or old Zoom videos that you did and you want to get some micro content and it's got its own editing tool in here, yeah, it's crazy cool. It's so much fun. Like if you ended up doing the paid version, this is not, I'm not an affiliate of theirs. They don't even have an affiliate program. But say you wanted to do the paid version, which I believe is like 19 bucks a month, there's actually an auto scheduler connected to it where you can auto schedule and pre-schedule your content to Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and LinkedIn like that. So you can like pre-plan your content out for as long as you want. It's unbelievable. And it really like kind of helps. Um, yeah, so David says, whenever I do a podcast, I ask the podcaster for the video file and make reels from those long form. Yeah. So in using David's example, you could just drop it right in there. So it's free for just 7 days. Okay, whatever. I mean, it's a 7 day free trial. So try it for 7 days, upload as many videos as you can, down them all, and then cancel the account if you want. So there's a hack right there. I know this would be money well spent for you guys if you want to do video content on LinkedIn to engage your audience. Because as you can see from the video that I did here, it creates nice engagement. And I followed the same principle, right? Um, engage, acknowledge, and then ask. Engage, acknowledge, ask. Engage, acknowledge, ask. So if everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Okay, good. All right, so we have about 7 minutes left. So I want to kind of open it up for you guys to kind of dump um, whatever questions you have in the chat for me, and I can go through them one at a time. As a reminder, I'm going to email the replay of this out later this afternoon, along with the waitlist for our Expert Content Society that we're launching in March, along with the free download to perfect your LinkedIn profile. So all those will be there as well. Does anybody have any questions that they want to pop into the chat? I use Dripify. What's your opinion? The only way that I would have an opinion, Dave, is if I used Dripify, which I've never used it, so I have no opinion. I usually just talk about what I personally use and what we recommend. If it's comparable and it can do similar things, I always tell people stick with what works for you. Don't switch now just on my behalf, but if it's working for you, stick with it. Is the video only feed only for the mobile app? It actually appears on both, Deborah. So it'll appear on the mobile app, but also people can then see it on the desktop version as well. On the desktop, it's a left to right scrollable video feed. On the mobile app, it's up, down video feed only. What about gaining followers to the company page versus personal network? I mean, the more exposure that your personal profile gets, if you have your company page listed on there, Andrew, they're going to obviously get more visibility that way as well. So it's going to naturally grow the company page. So I've seen my company page grow just because of getting more visibility to my personal profile. What are those United States of America? Oh, I have two patents. Those are two patents that I got from the United States. So I have two programs that I got patented. So I always like to share those. What is the max length of word count you'd recommend for the newsletter? Actually, Mike, that's a great question. You're allowed up to 100,000 words in the newsletters. Regular text posts on LinkedIn, it's only 3,000. My My newsletters, I keep it to between 5,000 to 6,000 words. That's just my kind of standard. That ends up being about a 5 to 7 minute read, but you can go way over that, and it's completely up to you. Um, I used to be, where would it do? I used to be in a different industry, and still, when I post, it shows me the most of the people who see the post are from this old industry. Is there a way to retarget new audiences? The only way to retarget a new audience is to build on top of your existing network. So making sure that you're connecting with the right connections that represent the new industry that you're in, number one. Number two, find people that are producing content in the industry that you're now a part of and start engaging in their content, which means you'll start appearing in that person's feed, and more of those people that are already engaging with them are more likely connected to that industry as well, which will also come back and give you visibility. So you'll start to see that change in addition to that. I have a question about newsletter. It isn't the same as sending your article directly to your contacts. No, Sam, it's not. It's completely different. You can send your article directly to contacts, but remember, with LinkedIn newsletters, you build a private subscriber list that LinkedIn sends it to automatically. So it's much more beneficial to grow a private subscriber list on LinkedIn with your newsletter instead of just, obviously just doing individual articles and then having to send them to individual people. If I'm already a member of your community, am I grandfathered into the Expert Content Society? So anyone that's on here that's a part of so right now we have the only community that we have right now is something called Expert Foundations, which we ended up closing down the beginning of February and gave people the opportunity to pre-enroll in the Expert Content Society. So if you did that, also anyone that's a part of my LinkedIn Growth Hub, you're also grandfathered into the Expert Content Society. We're merging all those people. So anyone that is currently in my LinkedIn Growth Hub, you'll automatically be rolled in. Anyone that was a part of our Expert Foundations community, I think there was about 8 or 9 people that ended up rolling in. You can always just email support@thetimetogrowcom to get into the founders rate before we open the doors in March. Um, Thing that willing to share. What do you think about offering downloads? Yeah, so I love offering downloads. That's a great question, Rosie. You want to turn LinkedIn into a way to grow your subscriber list and your email list. So I always offer downloads in the clickable link portion of the top part of my profile, number one. Number two, I always add it into the featured content section so people can download it from there. So you do want to offer some sort of download or a way to capture someone's email within your LinkedIn profile because that does follow GDPR regulations. So that's a compliant way to collect people's emails. So you can include the downloads there. Deborah said, what if I have 2 different businesses, branding/design on and offline, and a certified parenting coach? Um, I mean, I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, so basically we have a content repurposing agency. I do LinkedIn coaching and consulting, and then we teach people how to grow and scale their business. So we have 3 different types of business avatars. So they're all kind of merged into one, but there's always going to be, I would say, an overarching theme of what you're going to be talking about and who you're going to be connecting with on LinkedIn. So for me, I kind of break that down into 3 separate segments. So I connect with people that are a good fit for all 3 of those businesses, but also business collaborators like podcasters, other business coaches. I believe in leveraging the power of business relationships to grow another person's business and vice versa. So, I mean, I believe the more the merrier. So if you're a multi-passionate entrepreneur, you have more connecting points and more ways of obviously creating visibility on LinkedIn and engaging with other people's content. As far as a newsletter, I would pick one core focus with the newsletter, not creating multiple ones. So if your main focus is the parenting coaching, I would create one around parenting coaching. If your main focus is on the branding and design on and offline, I would focus on that. If they subscribe, but if it doesn't, the same. All right. Every comment should end with a question to obtain more views. Yeah. So, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. So anytime you make a post on LinkedIn, you always want to have a call to action to engage. So people always ask, well, how do I get more people to engage? How do I get more people to engage? Well, you have to ask them to. So if you finish your post and just say like that's nothing, like you just write just regular commentary and you don't finish with, hey, what was your biggest takeaway? Comment below. Well, then they're not going to comment below. So make sure that when you are writing any sort of content, you're producing any sort of video content, the call to action always is to comment below. What was your biggest takeaway? What helped you the most? Let's see. Oh, awesome. Oh, thank you, Deborah. I really appreciate that. So, one last time, Tatiana is going to drop the waitlist for the Expert Content Society, which opens in March. Every single one of you that gets on the waitlist, you will be offered a VIP pricing for that, and you'll be grandfathered in and locked in no matter how much we end up charging for it. So again, if you're looking to create better expert content on LinkedIn, that's what this community is going to be dedicated towards. Also, if anybody wants to learn how to better optimize their LinkedIn profile, all you have to do is grab that link right there, and that will teach you how to do so. As a reminder, I will be uploading this replay where you guys can obviously go back and watch it. So I'll be sending all that in a post-workshop email. And again, I will be connecting with Tatiana later so we can kind of brainstorm other workshop ideas. I know a bunch of you said that you would love a workshop on starting a LinkedIn newsletter, so maybe that might be our next go-to. So I hope you guys found this very value added, very educational, very informative. And again, like I said in the very beginning, whether you apply just one of these strategies or all of these strategies, I can promise you it's going to make a difference. So everyone, love and gratitude. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everyone.